Hello, good evening, everybody. Hello and good evening, everybody. How are we all? Hope you're well. It's Remi here from Remi Digital, and I am back for my weekly Wednesday Black Business Story Time. So every Wednesday, I show up live and I tell you a story about a Black person from history who was either an entrepreneur or was a businessman or a businesswoman who done amazing things in their community to uplift the Black community. And so I'm sharing these stories because what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to change um, the narrative that Black people are stupid or unintelligent or never have money or they're poor or they're on benefits or they're thieves. And so by sharing these stories of Black success, I hope that it goes towards, showing the other side of the coin. So you are welcome as always to get involved with these stories. You can send me suggestions, you can leave comments, you can say hello as you jump on. And absolutely, if you are watching this on replay or listening to this on a podcast, leave me a little comment. Let me know that you've been here and that you've listened to the show. So tonight's story is about a lady called Maggie Lena Walker, and she was an African American businesswoman and a teacher, but she was also the first African American woman to charter a bank and serve on this bank as its president in the United States. And she was the first woman, actually, first woman of any race to charter a bank in the United States. So she's pretty impressive, I think. And I want to share her story with you. But before we do that, I'm just going to check the sound levels to make sure. She's pretty impressive. Oh, the sound is on point. Okay, so let's just get into the story, shall we? I hope you like this story. What I've done, again, like I did with last week's, is I have removed the childhood story and I've gone really just for the meat on the bones because we all like a bit of meat on the bones, don't we? So I've gone for the meat on the bones and just given you the good stuff about her business career and some of the things that she was able to do in her life, and particularly at a time when being Black was not an easy time in the world. So, Maggie Lena Walker, she was born July the 15th, 1864, and died December the 15th, 1934. I think she was 70. My brain's too slow to do maths. I think she was 70 when she died. So after leaving her teaching position in 1886, Maggie devoted herself to the order, and she rose steadily through its ranks. Now, the order, let me explain to you what the order was. So when she was 14, she joined this thing called the order, and this was the local council of the Independent Order of St. Luke, and it was a fraternal burial society which was established in 1867 in Baltimore in Maryland. And what it did was it ministered to the sick and the aged, promoted humanitarian causes, and encouraged individual self-help and integrity. And so Maggie, she served in numerous different roles and different capacities within inside of this order, with increasing responsibility as she worked her way up. So she went from being like a sort of a lowly delegate, and then she worked her way up to biannual conventions, to the top leadership position inside the order of the Right Worthy Grand Secretary in 1899. And this was a position that she held as the Grand Secretary for the order until she died. I mean, obviously she did other things, but like the order was like the thing that was the core part of her life and helping people. And yeah, it's a running narrative through her life, the order. So via the order that she was in, she was a pioneering insurance executive, she was a financier, and she was a civic icon. And she established the juvenile branch of the order in 1895, so for young people. And this was while she was serving as a grand deputy matron. Now, the juvenile branch that she created, it encouraged education, community service, and thrift in the young members of the order. In 1902, she published a newspaper for the organisation, and it was called the St. Luke Herald. So she published a newspaper. And then shortly after that, she chartered the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank. So just in case you didn't catch that, she started a newspaper and she started a bank. And you think about it, we're in 2020. If somebody was to say to you, right, can you go and start a newspaper, and can you just, oh, while you're there, can you start a bank as well? Like, we're talking huge feats here. We're talking huge feats. And she did this in 1902 as a black woman. So yeah, she started the newspaper, started a bank, and then Walker served on the bank as the bank's very first president, which earned her the recognition of being the first African American woman to charter a bank in the United States. And the St. Luke Penny Savings Bank leadership team, it also included several female board members. And then later on, Maggie, she agreed to serve as a chairman of the board of directors when that bank, it merged with two other Richmond banks. And from what I read in some of the articles, her bank merged with two other banks that were black-owned banks as well, so almost like a collective. And this was to become the Consolidated Bank and Trust Company. And this grew to serve generations of Richmonders, that's people who live in Richmond, as an African American owned banking institution. So Maggie was part of that. In 1905, Maggie was featured alongside other African American leaders such as Mary Church Terrell, T. Thomas Fortune, and George Washington Carver in a poster that was titled 101 Prominent Colored People. So in 1905, she was making waves and she was known as an up and coming prominent person of color. So Maggie then went on to receive an honorary. Oh, I need to sneeze. Why do I always need to sneeze when I go? I get the tickle. I'm not going to sneeze. Okay. Suppress the sneeze. Maggie received an honorary master's degree from Virginia Union University in 1925 and was inducted into the Junior Achievement US Bank Business Hall of Fame in 2001. Maggie's social change activities with the Independent Order of St. Luke demonstrated her keen consciousness. Oh gosh, the words. So we're basically her activities and working inside of the order demonstrated her keen consciousness of oppression and her dedication to challenge racial and gender injustice. So we're going to talk about Maggie's legacy. In Maggie's honor, Richmond Public Schools, they built a large brick high school adjacent to Virginia Union University, and they named it Maggie L. Walker High School. And it was one of two schools in the area for black students. And this was during the period of racial segregation in schools. And the other school was called the Armstrong High School. So in her honor, they built a huge school. Oh, I've got some pictures actually. I can show you some pictures. Let's have a little look at the school. Bam, 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 bam. Gotta jump to another screen. I think this is one. There we go. It says Maggie Walker High School. It's a huge school, isn't it? So they've got a school in her name. And this is the picture of her bank. And Maggie is front row, 1, 2, 3, third from the right, and she's got a white top on, so that's Maggie. You can see the savings bank sign in the background. And there's a picture of Maggie over my face in my messy office. All right, let's get back to the story. So yeah, so she had a huge, large brick high school built, and that was named the Maggie L. Walker High School. And lost my place. Where was I? After generations of students spent their high school years there, it was totally refurbished to reopen in 2001 as the regional Maggie L. Walker Governor's School of Government and International Studies. So it was refurbed in 2001 and then renamed Maggie L. Walker's Governor's School for Government and International Studies. So she's going international, baby. And the building where Maggie was a part of the order, the St. Luke's order. So the St. Luke building held the offices of the Independent Order of St. Luke and the office of Maggie L. Walker. As late as 1981, Maggie's office was being preserved as it was at the time of her death in 1934. And the building was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1982. I'd love to go and and the National Park Service, they operate the Maggie L. Walker Historic Site, and this is at her former Jackson Ward home. And in 1978, the house was designated also as a National Historic Site, and it was opened as a museum in 1985. Also another place I'd like to go and visit. And the site states so like outside of the building, it states that the museum, it commemorates the life of a progressive and talented African American woman. She achieved success in the world of business and finance as the first woman in the United States to charter and serve as a president of a bank, despite the many adversities. And the site, it also includes a visitor centre which details her life and the Jackson Wood community in which she lived and worked, and her residence of 30 years. So the house has been restored to its 1930s appearance with all the original Walker family pieces. I mean, how great would that be to like walk into that house as it was in the 1930s and feel like what it must have felt like to be Maggie Walker? I'd love to do that. The National Park Service summarizes Walker's legacy with this statement. Through her guidance of the Independent Order of St. Luke, Maggie Walker demonstrated that African American men and women could be leaders in business, politics, and education during a time when society insisted on the contrary. Through her guidance. So it's saying what she did is she made an impact to all the people that came through the St. Luke's order. The wind out there is like throwing bins around. Yes, she made an impact on the people that came through the order and for all the young people that came through the order, in particular African American men and women. And she showed them that they could also be leaders, that they can work in business and politics and education and not to give up on themselves. So she was making a real difference. It says Maggie Walker here was honoured as one of the first group of Virginia women in history, and this was in 2000. So she was listed in that first round of Virginia women in history. So she's again, leaving a legacy and making her mark for showing up and making a difference in the world. And on July the 15th, 2017, a statue of Maggie Walker, which was designed by Antonio Tobias Mendez, was unveiled on Broad Street in Richmond. And it is a bronze 10-foot statue, and it shows a depiction of how she lived with her glasses pinned to her lapel and a checkbook in her hand. I haven't got a picture of that statue, otherwise I would show it to you. In 2020, so this year, Maggie Walker was one of 8 women featured in the Only One in the Room display at the Smithsonian National Museum of American History. As a leader, Maggie Lena Walker, she achieved success with the vision to make tangible improvements in the way of life for African Americans. Disabled by paralysis and a wheelchair user in later life, Walker also became an example for people with disabilities. She didn't let anything stop her, and she just went for it. And it's kind of the type of life I want to live, and the type of life I want to show my daughter to live. That, like, oh, you want to run a bank? You can run a bank. You want to do something? You can do it. It's about having I guess these dreams, right? And being able to take action, and then not just have the ideas of dreams and things, but then also to make an impact, a real impact on other people. So that, yes, she started a bank, but she's not starting a bank just to serve her own needs. It's about supporting and helping her community and uplifting the Black community. Hey, Phil, how are you? Whoop, whoop. So for me, I find her story really inspirational in terms of what I'm trying to do with my business and my mission that I'm on, which is about making a difference, impacting and up leveling people's lives and their businesses, right? So when I read stories like this and when I share stories like that, I hope it is received to you guys on the other side, with that message and with that impetus of anything's possible. And even when the odds are against you, living in times where the color of your skin could get you killed for any reason, yet we're still able to achieve such great levels of success. For me, it kind of says in today's day and age to just push aside all those BS excuses that people use about why they can't do things, why they can't be a success, why they can't up level their life. Like, we've got it easy in 2020. So why not take advantage of these opportunities? I should say we've got it easier. We haven't got it easy. We've got it easier than 100 years ago or 120 years ago. So why not use those opportunities? So I hope you found this story inspiring like I did, of Maggie Lena Walker, first Black woman to start a bank. She was a businesswoman. She was a bank owner. She was a writer. She'd done all of these things. So if she can do it, we can do it. And that is the end of this week's story. What did you say here, Phil? Of course you can. Why not? Abso-freaking-lutely. If you put your mind to it, guys, you can do anything. You can do anything. So I'll be back again next week, Wednesday, with another live story for you. And I hope you'll join me. And feel free to share the story if you want. If you want to share it out there to the world, feel free to share the story. And feel free to leave me any comments. I'll always check back on the comments after the video is posted. So thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.